My yoga teacher and friend Ocean contacted me a few months ago asking for help with her community garden plot. It's about 5 feet by 12 feet, so a decent size. There is quite a bit of this bindweed that we need to pull out first. She also has a small plot on the other side of the path that is about 3 feet by 4 feet. So here we are, ready to get planting. Let's pull up some bindweed, shall we? It will come back, but if you keep up with pulling it out, it will eventually give up. The soil is quite sandy, so it was easy to dig out as much as we could.
The soil is warm. That's a good sign.
Sorry?
The soil is warm. That's a good sign.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we said, it's really up to you.
Yeah. Some people do try to plant it in very, very early spring, but I haven't heard of anyone having much luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it typically.
Done.
Alright.
A quick rake to even out the soil.
A little bit full. That's right.
With 2 people, it goes quickly. First up, we'll plant some seed potatoes. But here's a quick note from Ocean.
Hey, hi, my name is Ocean, and this is my community garden plot. And my good friend Mark, gardener extraordinaire, is going to help me because I've struggled with this garden for years, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the upcoming season. So day 1 of planting season. Woohoo!
Perfect. Yeah.
Potatoes need to be planted quite deep. There are a few different varieties here.
The thing with potatoes is that they grow, as they grow, the stem itself actually is where the potatoes grow off of. So if you plant them too shallow, they actually won't produce much. That's why I like doing it in containers, because then what you can do is put it at the bottom of the container, and then you keep filling soil in as they grow. But to be honest with you, I haven't had too much luck with containers either, so I think in the ground is better.
So do we want them side by side? Or?
Yeah, they can go pretty well. I would say give them maybe an inch between. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Dig them too deep and then they won't probably sprout at all. Do you want to come over here, Miss Effian? So I can see the hole. Okay, you close enough?
I'm so happy to see worms.
Yeah, worms are good.
So what do you think of the soil? Is it too sandy still?
It's still a bit sandy, but it'll be fine. Better than too much clay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just means you might have to water more often. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes in the summer.
That's not too hard.
Yeah. Do you actually live close by?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that makes it easier. Okay.
This one?
You want to do the mill one? Sure. Yeah, probably within close enough. Okay, we don't need this anymore.
So happy to see still worms.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it's important not to be too fussy with planting, just throw stuff in the ground and they'll adapt. What we do here is pop them out.
Now to plant some broccoli. I started these plants in my greenhouse. I'm using my rake to try and get them in a straight line.
Well, not too close to the edge.
Oh, right.
They're going to get big.
Like this there?
Yeah, and what you want to do is plant them almost to the bottom of their first set of leaves. The reason being is then they're a bit stronger.
Really?
As they're gonna get tall and heavy.
Right.
You know how heavy broccoli heads are, right?
Yes. So plant them to the first.
Yeah, and you can use your trowel actually to also space them out. Again, it's not that important.
Yeah, but all these little tips, so from like the full length.
Yeah. Again, doesn't matter too much. And we'll give these a little bit of fertilizer once we're done.
And here they are. Now to plant some tomatoes, which I also grew from seed in my greenhouse. These are Bonnie Best, a nice slicer, but can also be used for canning.
Says they grew together. Because I never know with these old seeds if they're all gonna sprout.
Yeah.
So can you see how deep I'm doing it? Like that's pretty deep, right? Which is fine. That'll give them lots of support and keep them from. Well, we'll do something to keep them from. Yeah. Now, ideally, what we should have done is buried a fish head underneath. Actually, kind of a little bit on the dry side, believe it or not.
What is?
The ground and soil.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna.
Now for a bit of a stinky task.
Seaweed and fish mixed.
Mhm.
You got that part?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a good shake. And I'm just gonna eyeball it. And hopefully your neighbors don't complain about the smell. I had a neighbor once complain about the smell.
Really?
Yeah. I said to him, oh, it'll go away after a day. This stuff is really potent.
And
It's because I think it's because it's so aged. I've had it for a few years.
Where do you get the seaweed from? You buy it?
So I just buy it at the nursery.
So it's a seaweed fertilizer?
It's liquid seaweed
Really?
and liquid fish. I probably shouldn't actually cover my rake with it because otherwise the car will smell.
Watering everything we've planted so far with some seaweed and fish fertilizer.
Yeah, and I started just mixing it 50-50 because I got tired of like pouring, first 1 cup of the fish out and then 1 cup of the seaweed, and so I just took an empty bottle and did that. There.
Next up is some lettuce. You guessed it, also grown in my greenhouse from seed. And a chopstick is the best way to remove these from the container they were grown in.
Did you grow those from seeds?
Yep. That one's a little bit smaller.
And what kind of lettuce is it?
It's a mix. For some reason, I'm getting all the same ones.
Okay, but it isn't it?
But it is supposed to be a mix.
Right.
Yeah. Sort of until you get to the almost to the stem.
Just planting them to their first leaves.
And these ones, I hope the slugs will leave alone. This is where you want to put your eggshells around, so maybe you should grab your eggshells before you forget. Just make kind of a ring around them, basically.
Ocean also brought a bowl of washed and crushed eggshells. These were applied around the greens, especially to help ward off slugs and snails. The theory is that the slugs and snails don't like gliding over the sharp eggshells. Plus, as the eggshells break down, they add calcium to the soil.
Yeah, that's
Or
fine.
closer?
Maybe a little bit more, like spread out too. Like put more on and spread out more.
Oh, like a bigger barrier.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm gonna keep some for the kale too. Tomatoes we don't need to worry about.
How far out?
On this raised section at the back, I'm going to be direct seeding some radishes, as Ocean continues to distribute the eggshells.
Okay, we'll plant all of them.
I'm planting an Easter egg blend that has the usual red radishes, but also some white, pink, and purple ones.
Yep.
Looks great in a salad bowl.
Try to get them even. So they are going to grow together, but don't worry about that. I'm seeding. Don't need to thin them out. You don't like stepping on them.
Jesus, they're so small.
Yeah,
That was my daughter, who is filming all these videos for me.
that's way too many in one spot. Okay. I'm gonna draw it up. Yes. I guess I can plant up to here, right? Okay, we may have a few more extra ones on this side, but that's alright. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll just...
And we'll just give them a quick covering with a thin layer of soil.
Just very light. Oh.
Yeah, not too deep.
So you more like just put them on the on top of the
Yeah,
soil
I
and
mean,
then-
you can make like an actual, you know, little furrow.
But you find this is.
Well, actually, there wasn't enough soil there, so I thought
Uh,
might as well just move the soil from here to there. Just so that they're covered up a little bit.
We're making progress. While I don't like using these tomato cages as sometimes they can crush under the weight of a heavy tomato bush, Ocean had these on hand, so we'll give them a try. You need to push them quite deep into the soil.
Okay, I think that's fine.
Okay, time to plant some arugula. Again, I'm going to direct seed them, as transplanting arugula is almost impossible. They are really tiny seeds.
Wow.
and
again sprinkling some soil over the seeds.
I'm so glad we're
But the,
recording this so I can remember. Like, what did we do?
Yeah.
They don't need much to cover them as they are small seeds.
Okay, good enough. I'm just gonna pat it. You can pat it down when you get this. Sometimes you get the seed stuck to your hand. Yeah. Alright.
Hey.
And I'm also transplanting some parsley.
And we need, you used all the eggshells, right? Sorry, I forgot about that.
But we can take some from the inner circle of the broccoli.
Unfortunately, these plants were probably too small. Maybe I should have seeded them earlier or waited longer to transplant. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, good root system.
Yeah.
That's good. Is that the one? Sprout, maybe,
Okay, see?
This is mainly just for the transplants. It's actually good to get it on the leaves because there's something called foliar feeding, which means the plant
And do all plants do that?
typically, usually greens.
Now it's time to clean up this mess. The cardboard is from the main plot and was used as a mulch to keep down weeds.
Peas going along the back
What,
trellis.
sweet peas?
Regular peas.
What, a regular...
Well, like the round ones.
So like underneath that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what about
This little bed will be used to grow peas and also squash.
leaving this back part?
Just the back end, yeah. I think that's what I was gonna do. Yeah, back end.
I mean, I could
Just so
take it
that
all
they're out
off.
of the way kind of thing.
I might as well just take
except for the tape.
and some more bindweed and other weeds to pull out.
Signpost in place. Work on that.
The pea seedlings are also smaller than I would have liked, but they'll grow fast once they root down.
6 plants, enough? We'll keep the rest. This one isn't too large.
Can we take the little thing, Mark?
Oh, yeah. Let's hope I remember what's in.
Oh, you.
I will remember. It's okay. Once it sprouts, I'll know what's in the plant.
I saved these long branches for my
Well, I
plum
got
tree,
all one seed.
and now I'm going to build a trellis for the peas to climb up
That's
on.
enough.
One.
This one is curvy, so I hope
Just
I can
sticking some of the branches into the soil as deep as I can so that they are sturdy.
Whoa, sneezy, Mark.
Two.
Wow, that one's not very good. So let me put that one.
This one second? Oh, just this bottom.
This must have been rock.
This is a
Video of your dad's butt.
No, please don't. And one more.
And then using some string, I'm tying some cross pieces for the peas to latch onto.
That course that you're doing is really interesting. What course are you doing? Joy.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you forget? Yeah. That's
Like
why
it's a
all,
good
all,
ad
my,
to
all
do.
of my hobbies are exactly this.
And then you just do it. No
Yep.
talking. And
Sorry.
so she kind of, I mean, she gives us very much individual attention, but there's no like idle chit chat when
Yeah.
we're doing it. Like
Yeah.
she really discourages that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the idea. Is it's an art where you really have to be kind of silent, and I guess it's, you know, more of a mind exercises too, almost like meditation. But I can do it.
To support the trellis better, I'm adding a few diagonal braces. Unfortunately, we didn't get much video of me doing that.
So you're planting them quite close together.
Yeah, just in bunches.
I also dug out some green onions from my garden. These are Egyptian walking onions or nodding onions, named so because they will grow bulbs at the end of the central stalk and droop down to the soil and walk across your whole garden if you let them.
Maybe next time you're here, grab them. So if we have really warm weather coming up, or at least sunny weather, I would say you do need to come here like once a week to water. Water really slowly. I mean, again, it's fairly sandy, so it actually should, the water should go down pretty
So when
easily.
you say slowly, is that watering with the hose or watering with
Well,
water?
if you water with a hose and water like on not a very high spray.
Like misty.
Yeah. I mean, right now the soil's pretty wet from all the rain we had. Cut that off.
Shelling peas.
So here's an overview of how things look after an enjoyable morning of planting. And here's a look at the pea trellis with its diagonal supports. There will be more videos of Ocean's garden as we plant more and as things grow. A special thank you especially to my daughter Misaki for taking all of these videos.